All right, gang, the embargo on Palworld early access for creators is up, and that means people are streaming and playing the game before launch. I've watched probably 12 to 15 hours of gameplay, and here's what I know about the cute little guys that you can catch in the game known as pals. Welcome in, guys. My name's Jason with House of Jacobs, and I'm here to tell you what I know about pals. Since the early access has been granted to several creators, I've spent a lot of time watching people play the game because unfortunately, I did not get a creator pass. Sad days. Anyhow, I have learned a lot about pals, and I'm here to share that info with you, and maybe it'll even give you guys some tips on what to expect first starting the game when it comes to pals. This info will obviously change as updates happen to the game and as I'm able to play it myself and get a feel for it. So please hit the subscribe button, hit the notification button, and you can see those videos come out and actually see us on stream playing the game. All right, first and foremost, there are 150 pals throughout the world, much like the original Pokédex, if anyone's asking. Each pal is typed. Think fire, water, dark, electric, all that stuff. And they each have their own stats, personality traits, and even special traits for battles and special traits for base building. Pals also have specific tasks that they are good at on base. And at higher levels, pals will have higher efficiency levels in said tasks. So it's always good to keep your pals leveling up and to catch several different pals and see which ones are good at what. Pals can be used for several different purposes in the game. They're good companions, they can be combat buddies, mounts, they can be your weapon, and they're base building helpers. And I guess if you really want to, they can be slave labor at your base if you want. Pals that are on your base, once you assign them to work there, will stay within the area of the base that they are assigned and do the tasks that they're kind of supposed to do. There's like this blue ring that's established once you set up your pal workbench, and upgrading that workbench and your base will increase how far that ring goes out and allow your pals to interact more with the world, collecting resources and all that stuff. Pals will gather the resources for you, help you build and perform upgrades at your base. Like when you decide to build a statue, they might run over and help speed things up, which is super cool. They will even defend your base from syndicate raids as well as wild pals coming into the perimeter. They will attack and keep your base safe if they're able to. All right, the pals working on your base have a sanity level. Think of it like a stress level. They'll need to be fed, have a place to sleep, and a place to relax as well to keep their sanity levels high as they go through work. Essentially, the more they work, the lower their sanity goes. And as their sanity lowers, they'll be less efficient from what I understand, and they may even attack you and the other pals or just straight run away. Again, I've heard streamers say that. I haven't seen it on stream. Everyone was being nice to their pals. There was no slave labor camps. So you'll have to make your pals feeding bowls because they'll get hungry, give them a spot to sleep, and you can even make them a hot tub so they have a spot to relax. Don't be the slave labor guy. I've not seen one. Let's be nice to these cute little dudes. All right, I'm gonna go over a lot of common questions that I saw in the chats and watch these streamers answer, as well as kind of figured out on my own as people were asking them. First off, can you name your pals? The answer is yes, and it looks like you can edit that name whenever you like, as many times as you like. From what I saw, it looked like you could do most of that at the pal workbench, so have at it and name your pals whatever you like. Are there shiny pals? This was such a huge question. The answer is sort of. There are special pals called lucky pals. They're bigger than the normal pals of the same versions, and they have a radiant glow about them, it says. Personally, I didn't see any radiant glow because they looked pretty much the same color as the regular version. They do, however, have higher stats, and they usually have special rare abilities and personality types that they have and that give them special moves in some cases. And their stats are usually a lot higher than the regular version of them. So still a cool pal to have, even though it's not a shiny pal. There are also alpha pals. I saw these in the caves, basically, that you can go into, and they're essentially the bosses of the cave. You can capture them just like you can any other pal. It's harder to capture them. And for the most part, the only difference is they're slightly bigger. They don't get all the special lucky pal upgrades, but hey, still cool to have a big pal. Do pals evolve? No, these aren't Pokemon. They don't evolve, but there is crossbreeding, and I'll tell you that later. What happens when a pal dies in combat? When a pal dies in combat, they happen to return to their ball. You'll have to take them back to the pal bench to revive them. There's a timer involved with how long it takes to revive them, but they don't die permanently. I have heard, again, that there is a hard mode that you can set, and you may have the capability to make it to where they actually do die. Most of the streamers I watched, none of them kind of said that they died. There was always, you can go back and revive them. But I mean, I guess if you wanted to Nuzlocke it and there's a setting for it, you can do that. If not, you can just release your pal, I suppose, if that's what you really want to do if it dies. But regular gameplay, without any special settings, they don't die. You take them back and you revive them at the pal bench. Is there breeding? We talked about it earlier with the cross breedings, and I said yes. At level 19, you can start breeding pals. There is also cross breeding. This is where some of the pals can get kind of interesting. Some of the pals have the capability of coming out a bit different with some type of mutation after they're done breeding. So think of a pal that has a fire type, say the Fox Spark, but it comes out a water type instead, making it essentially a water fire fox. So in some cases, this will even change the appearance of the pal. So basically, it would be a Alolan version of the Vulpix, if that's what you want to kind of equate it to. So have fun trying to find which pals do it. Not all of them do, but it could always be interesting to see which ones do it. All right, it is sad to say that this is even a question, but can you romance your pals? No, weirdos! And don't give me this thing where it's like, oh, but this specific pal type would be most compatible with humans. No, just stop. Don't romance your pals. You can't romance them. Why? Can you interact with pals at your base? Yes, you can interact with them. Not romancing them, but you can still interact with them. You can feed them, you can pet them, and they have hot tubs and stuff. I think you can put them in and stuff. So have fun. Do all the fun things at base, but you can't romance them. Stop asking. All right, this one's sort of like pals. Can you catch the human NPCs in the game and use them as pals? Yes. However, the game says it is frowned upon, and the humans don't make really good pals anyways. You can feed them, you can interact with them at base, kind of like you wanted to pet them or whatever, but it kind of pets their knees because pals are usually shorter. So I think that was like a last minute throw in, but their stats are terrible. Their work ethic sucks, and they don't have any special skills. Basically, human pals are trash, and pals are better than people. So just stick with the pals. Can you teach pals special moves? Yes, you can. So there's like these fruits you can pick up called skill fruits, and you can collect them and they have different powers. And when you feed them to your pal, they get special moves. Maybe you've heard of this. It's called a devil fruit. Maybe. All right, a couple last minute things on the pals. There are different pals that will spawn in different environments, as well as day and nighttime specific pals. So wander around, wait for day and nighttime cycles, and you can find different things in the area. Pals can also use weapons in some cases and tools. So check out which ones can use what. You're gonna have to make the weapons and equip them, and sometimes it helps with combat and base stuff. So have at it, have fun making it, and see which pals can do what. Depending on the equipment you make for your pals, you can actually have several pals out with you in the world at once. So while you're at your base, you can have 15 max pals assigned to the base, but when you're in combat, you can get it to where you can actually have 2 out. So for example, you can have a saddle that you would mount one of the pals with, and then there's some pals that you can make a collar where they stay out all the time. So you can be mounted using the pal that you're mounted with in combat, and the other one is just randomly attacking at the same time. It doesn't necessarily have to be mounted. You can be unmounted, throw out a pal that stands on the ground, and then another one that's floating in the air because it has the collar. It will stay out of its ball, and you can have several pals out at once. I haven't seen people stack more than the 2, but Who knows? Grab a bunch of collars and see how many you can carry around with you. Speaking of combat, the pals will actually follow very simple, basic things. If you start attacking, they start attacking. If you want them to stop attacking, there is a radial dial you can put, and you can actually tell them to stop attacking. This makes it really easy to catch pals if you want. Get them all beat up with your pals and tell them to stop attacking. If you don't, they will attack and kill the pals. So, the wild pals. So if you want to capture one, you're gonna have to turn it off until it stops, or else they'll just murder everything around them. All right, guys, that is all that I know about pals in the 12 plus hours of gameplay that I've watched. I'll admit that most of the gameplay I saw was early game. I don't have a lot of late game access, and I actually don't have access to the game myself as of yet. Once I do, I will be learning more about the pals. I'm sure that there will be upgrades and updates to the game that will bring more to the pals. So hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications, and when I make more videos about this stuff, I'll share it with you guys. Also, if you want to know anything else and you have any questions that I can answer, please put them below in the comments and I'll get you to answer as soon as I can. Anyhow, that's it for me today. If you liked the video, hit the like button and join us on our live streams in the chat, where we'll be playing Palworld at least twice a week going forward for a while once it launches. Thanks for watching, guys, and I guess that's it for tonight, and we'll see you next time on the House of Jacobs.